this land of ours, it belongs to us, and nobody to protect us except us. We pledge that we will work for this land in the rain or in the, as just how they recite in the rain or in the sun. Elders and youngsters, this is the content. So from there, I learned that if Yorubas are able to do this, they can do it to all sectors, because they can have agenda, economic agenda for their state or their region, and they can also have agenda for media. And alhamdulillah, I got it that they already have agenda, which is different from NBC, National Broadcasting, code. They were able to get all this. I have one small video so that we can see what the sharp, distinction between us and them. I'm not saying we are trying to come up with something that can divide us, to become, hostile to each other. No. If Yorubas in Abeokuta can do this, why not in the north? So they do have it, and they do have the economic roadmap, and it works. They do have the agenda for media operation, it's there. And while I was, collecting data for this paper or for this presentation, I interviewed one professor, and I asked him whether we may attribute the reason why Kano State could not produce agenda for communication law, whether it is in concurrent list or exclusive list. He said, no, media and communication, they fall under what? Concurrent list. So state can promulgate laws. They can enact laws to serve their, interest, regional interest. So this is about who set agenda for agenda setters. So it is only Yoruba, if we do have one, in Nigeria, that they can set agenda for themselves and it serves them. Even in this government, you can see how it works for them. Okay, yeah. Let's move to the next slide. Maybe we come back. Okay, you can see this is just a picture that will support the slide. Now, I wanted to talk about Kano society and the media. I may substitute Kano with northern Nigeria because we are people who belong to one heritage, one's worldview. Society and the media. I try to compare two incidences. The alleged, this is CIA Area 24 Kano, CIA creation. And what happened in 1919 in Egypt, when cinema was launched in Europe. I don't know exactly what brought cinema to Egypt before it reached other European states, but it was there. Since 1919, today about 100 years, you can see the impact. I am not saying it is only cinema, but it's apparatus. It's one of the tools that made Egyptians to be what they are today. I was in Egypt some few months ago. Whenever I stroll the city, I used to become amazed on what distant these people from what the heritage of Islam that is there for years in them. You see 70 years old lady, but being proud to be hijabless. None of her children, nor her friends that at all see hijab of something important or religion. They are still nominal Muslims. But this issue of hijab, issue of Islam is not there at all. So I'm trying to get connection between how the worldview that changed these people along this, lifetime, a kind of century, less than century, you can see the impact on that in them. This is not empirically supported by data, but I'm trying to see whether there's correlation between the portrayal of modern man in Egypt and what is obtainable today. So this is the same thing what I look at and Arewa 24. During the course of my trying to put up data for this paper, anonymous source told me that he was contacted by when Arewa was about to be established in Kano. They actually, it is not America at all. It is through the other third party. They made the offer to highest bidder, those who may like to take the contract. They contacted him, and he said he can't say past 100% that America belongs to, so Arewa 24 belongs to CIA, but rather he has documents that are in conformity with this presumption. You know, his salary is about $10,000 per month. So from there, he becomes suspicious. He started doing istikhara, trying to even consult his mother so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will save him from. He likes the money, but he knows the danger, the kind of what the repercussion, the outcome of this issue. Before he knows even the content or the agenda behind Arewa 24. In another occasion, another consultant who is up to this moment working with them, you find out that most of the content, they are behind it. So they use the third party to come and do the same thing in a land. In case there is a problem, you know who is the initiator. You get it? And I'm telling you, if Arewa 24 is confronted, or at the end of the day, there is no Arewa 24, they will get another company and they will do something that can do what Arewa 24 is doing. Because they are using it through a farm. And they are using the same people. You are the artists, the script writers, content is coming from you. But the problem is that if you want to regulate Arewa 24, how do you do that? Because the transmission is being done from where? Dubai. It's not here. It's only studio in Kano. It's from Dubai. And in the digital era, how do you, even the advanced nation like China, censoring the content of the media is becoming difficult for them. You get it? So I wanted us in this forum to please discuss ways. I will present to you my framework, whether we do have some ways to mitigate the impact on our psyche. Let me say, there are a number of media outlets that do have this, but our FM stations, to me, they should also be regulated. And where legislation cannot work, what do? We get other means. I could see that in Sudan, when we were there as students, if a foreign mission comes, their experts sit down, they study it, and they become part of it. And this is what should be done in Kano or in northern Nigeria. No problem, be part of Arewa 24, but make sure that it serves what? Our interest, not their interest. I do have some slides that support this. I single out some programs that with their some incidences of hidden agenda behind even naming the program or the actors or what the performance. But as far as this is concerned, I think the reason why I don't want to make this paper to be just paper like that is because your input will help us in coming up with the, agenda. Not agenda, but framework. In the first place, we know that government can do something. Like in all our FM stations, our students used to go for, project, undergraduate project, or even masters. You find out that the content of our FM station is commendable because you can see visibly how it serves religious content, cultural content. They are commendable. But there is one problem. There must be an editor. There must be a kind of what we call scholar, Islamic scholar there to help them, regulate what they produce. You get it? So this is another way of it. Kano State wanted to make legislation on this, can do. And Kano State government, or Northern Nigeria government, should not look at the industry as the way we look at it. If you say you don't like them, they should not operate. They will go to Kaduna and produce the same. So I wanted the government to make sure that she devise way of bringing them closer, like, to change their psyche, to give them agenda, to support them. But the best of all is for the government or the community to establish their own media. Because this Ariwa 24 is solely for entertainment. So you need something like Ariwa 24 for entertainment. And that entertainment should be guided 100% by what? By our agenda. Make sure the quality, the production, everything is equal or even better than what is obtainable in Ariwa 24. If you can you compare CTV, for example, ARTV with the content of Ariwa? I myself, I can't resist content of Ariwa Step 24 because I know. You see, even today they produce film using what? Satellites. So you can see the expertise in it. So you have to invest. And I want to make government to understand that the entertainment industry today, it generates money. If they invest their money, it will serve two purposes. It serves our interest, and at the same time, it will serve the economic interest of our people, job creation, and all this immorality that is known in the issue could be reduced to minimal, barest level. Let me cite another example of one program in Iowa, Ray Denjunguru. The man that reads the story has the talent. The impact that is making with that single program, you can't get any religious or tafsir program that has that acceptance and listenership. To the extent that if one listener meets the other listener, well, you'll be surprised. That as if it is real. Wallahi, wholeheartedly, they internalize it and they believe in it. And when I asked my wife, this is not real, pa, she said, it happens. So the talent of Ahmad Isa should not be wasted. Like this Rikadawa, Ali Nuhu, and others, government can bring them closer and give them agenda. But where is the agenda? We don't have the agenda. Like this Ebalan, they don't have the agenda. So what I'm saying, we have to set agenda for agenda setters. And this area is not for anything but rather for entertainment. And the guy that was telling me how it came to be established in Kano told me that from the contract form that he was about to sign, They say it is meant for what? For youth. And the sole purpose of this channel is to de-radicalize the Muslim youth. Because to them, the way that's why I wanted to talk about society. You see, our society is one of the best. I'm not trying to brag, but it's one of the best in terms of religious consciousness. It is only in our society that you hardly see a married couple walking along the street holding her arm. It is only in our society where we get a married woman living in her home without coming even to the outside for 5-7 months, because the culture becomes interwoven with religious injunctions. So to them, it is only in our region that when Azan is called, people with nobody to harass them, they will go, more than 70% of them to go and pray. Unlike in other Arab countries. So to them, this disheartened them. So they consider them to be, a gateway to terrorism. So we have to be de-radicalized. So if we put it that the sole, goal for establishing Area 24 is what? Is to debase our cultural heritage, to make it repulsive, to make our people to detest it. You are right. If we are able to substantially support and link up those who fund those who manage the station. Let's move to the next slide. Okay. Now, you see, I already talked about MBC code, scope and limitation. I went to censorship board and I got their book. The content and regulation is only limited to what? Cinematography and the film. It doesn't have to do with anything related to the media outlet. It is only the production aspect. So censorship board cannot do that. But in terms of production, but the problem is, does the Area 24 need censorship board to approve its productions, its content? No, at all. Because they transmit it from wherever they are. Then TV broadcasting, in Kano, we do have what we call 1986 and 1976 broadcasting law. And when I perused the content, nothing that can deal with this development. So as far as and I also already told you that I went to print and press, nothing. Move to the next slide. Kano Censorship Board, TV broadcast, you can see. You see this hip hop, no Miss G. I wanted, and I may suggest that our friends in the department will help us give students chance to measure or to do research, to conduct research on the impact of this program, especially this episode of Novice G on the psyche on the youngsters. Today there is a kind of, a transition from what you hold in mind as esteem, as model, with what your child at home is holding, believing in. Before there was one small chap called Lil Amir. He died. He passed away. To my own surprise, I was trying to, search of who is this Lil Amir. When I own his songs on my phone, I found out that my children were already, even their language, come on, na yinka, hubana yinka. Even their language changed because of that, because if they are age mates. And the impact when it comes to peer group, the impact is more they do have those, category of actors and artists that capture the psyche of small children. And novice G, hip hop, its impact is devastating. Even, fully grown people, they wanted this program. And at the end of the day, in the next 20 years, we don't know what will happen. And in their proposal, they even say that in the next 20 years, they wanted to see a result. Labarina is one of them. Move to the next slide. Somebody told me something about this Labarina, but it's not confirmed. And I'm not saying that the actors and the artists are not good. You can bring them closer. They go and work for Arewa, but they know what they do as it is in Sudan. So they do it the same way. So they know how to serve their own interests. Look at this Malam Nata'ala. You know Malam Nata'ala. Well, I wonder how Malam Nata'ala, perform his role in that Inkoa. And I was even wondering, is this Malam Nata'ala not the product of Sangaya? They are in the Alaramma yake. Kuma za ka so har ma ni ba na son naga kowa irin Malam Nata'ala. And through the attitude of Malam Nata'ala, you yourself, wallahi, you will detest Sangaya education system. Look at Sangaya as it is, the whole Sangaya system. But because of this episode, because the character of Malam Nata'ala, you will detest it. Because tsagwaran jahil cin zali za gan shi. Move to the next slide. Kwana 90. The next. Now, this is another way of capturing the attention of the audience. Any film, this is Turkish, episodes. They are Muslims, but nothing, no religion at all in their lifestyles. So it's another way of telling you that you can become Muslim, but nominal Muslims. You don't need to be, always wearing hijab, doing this and that, hugging women, doing everything, which I think they have a number of them. And we follow them and we watch them. Now, before I stop, let me present to you the media framework that I am thinking may be developed or might be altered. To me, there should be a media framework for Kano. It is doable. We can do it because other states did it and it served them. We need to have economic framework for our region and it's doable. Other states do it and it will serve us. Legislation. There must be legislation by Kano state government for the law. It will capture FM stations. There must be ulamas in the editorial board of any FM station, even our station in Bayero University. When you listen carefully to the songs that is being broadcast there, no censorship. Are we promoting only love? Are we only promoting, is that kind of personality that we want us to see in our midst? Don't we have core values that should be always, promoted? So there must be alim, at least scholar, Islamic scholar that help regulate the activities and the content. So this is about legislation. Then the second alternative framework is the setting up world-class TV station. I think this is the best. That could be done in two ways. The government can do it, which I don't think is possible in the foreseeable future, but private partnership can do. The Azmans, the Dangotes, they could do something about it. The government can prepare, proposal, or other industries can do have. Government can champion the cause, and it can be done. We must have a TV station that can serve that purpose, can serve our agenda. That is number two, either public or private partnership. Then there are certain strategic involvement or intervention. This could only be done by who? By concerned Muslim activists to sit down and see how they can do this. So in collaboration with government or on their own, they can do something. As I told you, people like Kannywood actors, artists, Ahmad Isa, and the like, you give them sensitization lecture. You introduce them to the core values. You help them develop their content. This is what I call strategic intervention. We have sensitization, we have working with them, we have even the Arewa, the managers of Arewa. They are our people, they are brothers. Why not to sit down with them? Why not to educate them on what the danger of what they do, the havoc they are causing to the immediate society. These people are not there, Basa Kano, Basa Nigeria. They are there, Hasali Mabama, America. Kuma ba wanda za su so aikin sai mu. So you get them, you educate them. This is some of the framework that I proposed, and the recommendations are there. Some of them already, I mentioned them during the presentation. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayka. Na ji daɗi wani ɗan uwa Malam Bashir wanda da shi muka fara kwamiti na Professor Gana is around. Ina fata Malam Bashir zai za a ɗan bashi chairman, a bashi ɗan dama ya ce wani abu saboda yana da abubuwan da suka inspiring ɗina from kaina ne wannan aiki. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much, Dr. Iguda. I find your deconstruction of Arewa, some of the Arewa television programs very interesting. And this is what we call media literacy. And I hope that you are going to recommend media literacy for the society so that people can read. By reading, I mean understand and appreciate a particular program through some ideological lens. Now, before I ask for comments and contribution, I want to make one observation. Later on, I think I have a number of observations to make. In your submission, you said the greatest challenge is Arewa 24. Did you say that? You say greatest challenge is Arewa 24. I think Arewa 24 is only a fraction of the challenges. What about Disney films and Disney cartoons that our children from the ages of 2 up to the ages of maturity are watching? These are the most dangerous media content produced by what do you call them? Illuminatis. What about the whole gamut of social media? Facebook, Twitter, and others. What about the bombardment from satellite channels, both radio and television in our society? These are probably greater challenges because you have no control at all about them. But I think we should invite comments, contributions, so that perhaps we may get a way out. But I want to congratulate you for this important effort. I think we should start doing something. At least to know that you have a problem is halfway towards solving the problem. Thank you very much for this very important start, a very important attempt to analyze and to understand our problems with a view to finding solution for the problem, to the problem. Did you say we want to, one of the committee members to make his contribution? Okay, now I will call upon the audience to kindly contribute. Okay, discuss it. Bash Ambash is not around here. I have not seen him. Is Bash Ambash around here? So probably he has not been able to attend. Yes. So I think we should call for contribution. I will allow, maybe as a chairman, director, I will allow him to maybe to make the last recommendation so that comment so that he does not preempt everybody. Director, later on you comment. Yes, because but I can see a lot. Okay. Maybe we start with you. Yes, if you have anything to say, sir. You don't have anything to say. So I will now, Madam Bashir, talk. Madam Bashir, we'll come to you. We'll come to you. Not worry.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I just want to advise us on how the pattern of discussion should be, but I don't intend to censor anybody. But I know this presentation made by Sunusi Iguda may be something that must have touched the heart of each and every person that is here. So please, we have had the problem. We would not want the discussion to just end on lamentations only, so that everyone that stands up will just be making lamentations. We would rather have a more fruitful discussion whereby you come up with very practicable suggestions and recommendations, please, rather than making lamentations or lamentations and lamentations. There is no harm if you give some very relevant examples, but even that should not be too much so that we don't talk too much without having something to take home. This is just my advice.
Now, another important note is that somebody who feels you are prepared to speak in Hausa, please, that person is welcome. I always prepare to, if I'm allowed, I'm prepared to speak in Hausa because I can now express myself better than to think in Hausa and then translate the thought in English. That's what we always do. You first think in Hausa and then you translate the thought in English. And this is always a problem. So you are free to contribute in Hausa if you think you can be more fluent in Hausa. At least they kowa ya san cewa duk wanda ya zo nan yana jin Turanci, so ba wata matsala. So somebody was raising his hand before I come to you. Somebody was raising his hand over there. Please introduce yourself and then make your contribution. Make it short and precise.
My name is Abubakar D. Ahmad. Ɗalibi ne ni a Jami'ar Ahmadu Bello da ke Zaria. I want to begin my wordings first with the ITT itself for conducting such very, very important, touching presentations. And secondly, as well, the able presenter, Dr. Iguda, who really touched the hearts of everyone here, like our Ustaz has earlier said, Alhamdulillah, and the issue is very disturbing, which I believe as parents or as younger people here, because there are very, very important senior personalities over there. I cannot call myself a parent, but rather I can say we're emulating their right path in the teachings of or doctrines of Islam. Sincerely speaking, Arewa 24 has tangibly incited negative trends into our culture. And that unification, or that what is supposed to be shown in the earlier films, the yesteryears during Sultan Haki and Shauransu is no longer there. Even the mode of dressing, especially when he shown this guy hip hop, which even the dress code totally negates the Hausa culture. I can recall in 2017, na shigo gida sai na ji ana a fim ɗin wasan Hausa. Ai mun samu gishiri muka sa a cikin janareta na wani mai sana'ar photocopying da muka sa tun da marowaci ne ya ƙi ba mu kuɗi da muka sa nan da nan injin ilallace idena cinikin sai an ɗauka an kai wajen gyara. Wallahi that comes into my mind directly. Kamar directly ana koyawa yaranmu cewar ga yadda za ku cutar da mutane in the name of a samu kuɗi ko kuma a yi wani abu da rashin tarbiyya wacce ta saba al'adunmu. Ni dai daga lokacin na hana kallon Arewa 24 a gidana. So ban san cewar ko wannan akwai 'yar gudunmawa, watakila unguwarmu gaba ɗaya gidana ne kawai. But in za su tafi wani gida su gani, to da shauran gyara. That is why I pointing out wannan yadda za a yi. And secondly, duk lokacin salla'i a faɗawa mata, iyaye ko manyan 'ya'ya, duk abin da ake na kallon talabijin, ko ma wani irin kallo ne a rushe da lokacin makaranta. Ina ga this greatly will help us towards mu ƙara tarbiyyantar da yaranmu. And lastly, I wish a wannan program ɗin da an kira stakeholders a jami'an gwamnati, Ministry of Information and other stakeholders, SSA ɗin nan, su ma su zo su ji, su zuke abin directly from the resource persons and a ba su wannan ɗin. So idan aka tattauna da su, su tafi su studying, sannan a follow up domin a coming up with this, because it's very, very important, very, very sensitive, and abu ne wanda ya kamata culture a kuma duba ta, a kuma bunƙasa ta, a kuma yaɗa ta. Alhamdulillah, yadda aka yi mana taken, mun damu da addini, Allah ya ƙara tabbatar da mu akan addinin. Assalamu alaikum.
Next.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am Ahmad Abdullahi Ibrahim from Faculty of Education, Yusuf Maitama University, Kano. So Alhamdulillah, I'm highly delighted by the presentation made by Dr. Sunusi Iguda. Also, I thank the management of the IIIT for arranging this important monthly discussion. So my comment also may be so in academic aspect, because I had the presenter want to produce a tangible framework which can help the state government. The first of all, by looking at the nature of the topic, proposal of the framework, which is there is one design and developmental research, which one of the recent approach which can be conducted for developing a framework. That approach, I think, is very helpful for presenting valid model or approach which could be taken. So I think the presenter can take 5 stages, which you are now at the initial stage, which is the analysis stage, analyzing the situation whereby the problem is emanated. This can be through, as we have mentioned, interview, observations. This interview can be with technical subject matter expert, technical matter expert, and the concerned people for that to get the real problem. From there, also, you can ask for their recommendation, what should be done to address this problem from their perspective. Because whatever you suggest, they are the receiving end. Then from there, you can go to the next stage, which is design stage. From the information you received, also through the literature review you had at the analysis stage, you can design your framework. This could be from their suggestion they made, also from the other examples, literature review from other countries, like Sudan you have mentioned, and other countries which have this policy. Then developmental stage. Also, this design and development stage are going together. Through that design, also you develop it together with the concerned people. You as a lone researcher, maybe it might be difficult to capture everything. So there are consultations, that is ulama, the artists, and other people, concerned people for that. Then you come to implementation, whereby you go to the government, this is beyond our control. So through that, giving them, you can give some stages whereby this could be done. Then the final stage evaluation, which at the end of some years, if it is implemented. So we should not be hurry for that. I think this approach, inshallah, can help you to develop a valid framework which can be convinced by everyone, inshallah, based on the empirical evidences you have as well as the literature review you get. Then, apart from that, I can suggest that I heard even from the social media, many people talk about Ariwa, attacking Ariwa. But review their content. Maybe there is something which is good they are doing for the benefit of the people. Especially there are many educational programs which are very good, like Achili and Kiri, for example, for educating the children, mathematics, grammar, and other scientific aspects. So I think if you review that, what is good, tell them, so it will encourage them to do more. What is bad, take it out and look what should be done for that. Then for regarding the recommendation, I think also, as I mentioned, recommendation important the policy, it should be gradual. You can mention recommended it should be gradual, because doing it by force or by law legislation, it will not give a fruitful result. Like we can look at how NGO are doing. They have the target of 20 years. So this, we can have a model target of 10 years, how it should be done. As you have mentioned the example of this, ulama should be engaged. Also reorient them, not attack them alone. Look, what are the possible ways should be done? Like I mentioned, like this Ray Goro. This person is very eloquent. Instead of attacking him, let us get some people who can use him to read the seerah of Prophet Muhammad and get other people to sponsor broadcasting it through the media. It can help. It will serve more purpose than to take an alim to give that seerah. Also, this another encourages the artists. There is one son, Makaranta Mi Azama, we teach Tawheed and seerah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Why can't we invite such people, give them a text of the history of Prophet and other companions to make it in that song, which is very touchful? Then I can suggest, finally, framework should be talk for parents, as I mentioned by first speaker. Parents, this if you make it for government, implementation of parent also is another issue. So there will be another framework for parent. How should they distance their children from watching that things? If you do it by force, the children can find another way to do it, which is beyond your control, which is better for you for them to watch it at your home rather than allowing them to go somewhere. You don't know what people are they going to meet. But there's another way whereby studying the psychology of children, which can help parent, another framework for parent. What are the tactical ways they should do to take them away from that things? That is my humble recommendation. Assalamu alaikum.
So, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Muhammad Shamsuddin Abubakar, and I am a postgraduate student at the Department of Mass Communication, Bahrain University, Kano. Thank you, sir, for this presentation. What I would recommend is first, number one, I will say that we should adopt something that is already ongoing. For example, whenever you're watching a movie, when there is something very terrible is coming, they used to notify you that you should be warned that this scene has some dangerous or let's say horrible things to come. So I think we should have something like that. Maybe, for example, the regulators should make it mandatory that whenever you are broadcasting your film, there should be, as the starting point, a warning that will show that that will give an orientation to the audience that this scene that you are watching, you have to be very conscious of what it is. Something of that nature. The message I haven't conceived, but a message of that nature can be used. Secondly, also the issue of, as he mentioned, advocacy. We should see a way that we will have, first, we need to have a consensus pressure body, a consensus pressure body, a body that involves all stakeholders that will be monitoring these issues and that will be mounting pressure on the stations, on the actors, on the society, always alerting the society, always enlightening the personnel producing those things and the likes. And that also we should, in the framework, also include the development of an independent censorship body. The government should establish an independent censorship body that will entail a lot of stakeholders, the ulamas, the civil societies, the government body, and all relevant stakeholders, an independent censorship body, because censorship body under the government may not serve our purpose, because part of the problem is that it is the failure of leadership that is bringing all these things. So when you have a body that is under the government and the government mind is not under what you people are talking about, the censorship will not work. So, and also, as somebody mentioned, there is the need, as he also mentioned, that there is need for a kind of alternate program, because we need programs that will counter the ones we don't like. And also in that sense, this may be a kind of question and it may be a kind of suggestion. I don't know how you will see it, but I don't know what we see with regards to the orientation of the content that we receive. Because, for example, you have a content that will show you bad things, and at the end, it will now come and say in some few scenes, this scene is bad. This is how somebody ends. Or you will have a content that will just show you good things from the end, from the beginning to the end, which is not harmful. So how do we want the programming to be? The orientation of the content matters, because when you have content that is showing you bad things, then at the end, which we may not likely watch the end, shows you that that thing is bad after you have already adopted it. Or you have an orientation content that shows you good things from the beginning to the end, and also, of course, can entertain you. It depends on how it is excellently developed. So, and also, sorry. Then also, as he mentioned, there is a serious need for that advocacy or media literacy, which our prof is advocating. And I remember during Ramadan, you mentioned something like that when Dr. Jibril Ugandu Umar Jibril Ugandu made that presentation. Media literacy is very essential. Our masajids, ulamas in the khutbahs need to begin to speak up on this. Our schools, Islamia schools, maybe we link up with their associations and begin to send these messages. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us. Wassalamu alaikum. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. My name is Salahuddin Yusuf, a retired teacher. So I'm looking for job. If you have one to give. I want to commend the presenter. That was a very wonderful presentation. You really touched the heart of many of us here. But I just want to remind us that this is just one of the challenges we'll continue to face. There are so many other challenges, very formidable challenges. Then I want to make this correction. Egba is not Egba, it's Egba, E-G-B-A, not E. E-G-B-A is Egba. Yes, it's Egba. No, not Egbo, there's nothing like Egbo, except if you say Igbo, which is Indian hemp. You wonder why this policy was formulated in Egba land. It was because the first newspaper in Nigeria was established in Abeokuta, and Abeokuta is the headquarters of Egba land. It was established by a missionary. His name is Townsend. Henry Townsend was the first to establish a newspaper. Number two, honestly, media is very expensive to establish and to sustain. We must face this reality. I wanted to air a program, and I called one of the TV stations. He said, I'm going to pay 300,000 for 1 hour. I wonder, I said, what are you talking about? I'm not talking about a month. I'm talking about just 1 hour. He said they do a lot of subsidy in their programming. And the problem with our people is that we don't believe in establishing media houses because it's not profit making. Then again, if we have to establish our own, it must not look like the newspaper we had sometime here in Kano, which was established by Bashir Tofa, that focused purely on religious propaganda. If we have to establish a media, then it must look like an international media that addresses various issues. Then, honestly, we need to patronize Sunna TV. Sunna TV is an upcoming TV and is doing a lot of programs, very educative programs, but I don't know how it is being financed. I don't know how it is being financed. You see, entertainment, there is poverty in the country. One of the first venture making money today is entertainment. If you read the media, you see how people are making money. These boys are making a lot of money, buying fantastic cars, building houses. So if you have to check our children, what work or what alternative work are you going to give them? There is no job around. We are talking about 90.3, this program. Let me tell you this story. 4 days ago, I went out with my wife and my niece in the car. Then I on the radio because after that, you know, it's the tafsir. After that program, it's tafsir. So 5 minutes to the time, the man started with his voice, talking like a woman. Then, then he was referring to a girl. The man was befriending a girl and the rest of them. My wife said, what do you understand? I said, I don't know anything. I just only listen to you. I don't know what they're talking about. My niece behind said the name is so, the blah, 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 blah. I was shocked because she has no radio in her room and she has no TV, but she's well informed. She's following the program.
So my uncle who says he will stop the children from watching it. The children are clever than you. This is allow them to watch whatever they want to watch. Censor them. Keep on monitoring them. So kuma ka hada da addu'a. Ka hada da addu'a. My children are all married. They are in their places. Now they are leaking to me, confessing the kind of things they did when they were young, which I never believed. Let me give you an example. I used to teach them this literature, Ashmawi, Halari, and the rest of them. Because they are very poor in Yoruba, I was teaching them in English. I didn't know that they went to Kurmi market to buy copies translated into Hausa. I don't know who showed them Kurmi market because they don't go out. But now they are telling me, and they were seeking for my forgiveness, that we used to go to Kurmi market to buy translated copy and read and the rest of them. So we have to understand that we have a formidable challenges before us. The Quran said, "Yuriduna an yutfi'u bi afwaihim wallahu walau." So this is the challenge facing us. We have to work together. Your presentation is very good. The framework you are coming up with is very good, but I need to say that it is money-consuming project. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi.
Mr. President, can I talk? Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala ahlihi wa sahbihi wa mawala. Thank you, Dr. Iguda, for your wonderful presentation. Even though I came late, I know that I missed a lot, but the little I got from you make me to come with the following observations and contributions. Number one, you talk about media framework in Kano. And when you look at the scope, media, I think is very, very wide. You should have, like, if you observe the comments from the participants, most of us, or most of them, they talk about Ariwa 24. So you should have narrowed down your framework or your topic or your presentation to Ariwa 24 alone. Many people on a daily basis have been asking me to set a meeting for us to discuss about Ariwa 24 and its programming. And why? Because I'm saying this, when Ariwa was about to come on board, they invited us for even naming the station. A friend of mine was working with them at that time. They invited us to give it the name Ariwa 24. And most of the things they do at that time, he was the one informing me. Like you said, unfortunately, when Ariwa 24 came, they only found filmmakers. That is why if you look at their staffing, look at their staff, most of them, they are what? Some were retired filmmakers and some are still acting filmmakers. No educationists, no academics, no ulamas, no. This is our problem, our nonchalant attitude toward these kind of media stations. So like you said, the issue of integration is very, very important. We need to integrate some of these presenters, invite them to meetings, seminars, presentation like this. Let them, some majority, if not all, wallahi, they don't know the danger they are causing. I was watching a video clip of this man, Adam A. Zango, saying that of all Hausa film makers, he produced many Islamic films, and because of his movies, about 5 or 6 Christians converted to Islam. But he was lamenting, he was complaining. None of our ulamas, none of any Islamic organizations invited him for an award to even recognize what he was doing. Come and see the anger on his face in that video clip. So the issue of integration is very, very important. The likes of this, what do you call him, this man of Zapa Fagoma, he was your student, you know that. He was from mass communication department of Bayero University. call him, sit down with him, show him the danger, show him the bad things he is doing, and integrate him. So I think by integration, inshallah, slowly but surely, some of these problems will be curtailed. That is number one. And number two, we focus more on Arewa 24. What about our radio stations? Now there is a radio station here in Kano that is teaching sexual education. I don't know whether you are following that program. I don't want to mention the name of the station, but if maybe some of you who are very conversant with our radio station, well, there is a radio station here in Kano that is teaching sexual education. No, I don't, no. It's okay. You see, yesterday I was listening to the tafsir of one of our sheikhs. He said that he was advising us to avoid mentioning names of some people who are doing something wrong, because tomorrow they might change. So if they change, in your own presentation, you mention the name, and many people will continue, seeing them with that thing. Maybe I will. Mhm. You say what? Okay. Yes, maybe I will share that with the prof and the Dr. Iguda, honestly. I'm a student of mass communication, and these people are our friends, they are our colleagues. They will go and start saying, so person says so place. We have a good, rapport with them. So I don't want to spill the beans. And thirdly, the issue of self-censorship, like some of our friends here said, is very, very important. Regulating media is a Herculean task for all media scholars know about, especially with this revolution of ICT, information and communication technologies, regulating media. If you regulate this, if you block this, they will find another way, to flood you with their secularized content. And like you said, I don't know the kind of the theory maybe you use to support your framework, but I think secularization media theory and perception media theory and reinforcement media theory will help in developing this framework, because there is a debate among the media scholars that whether media affect or reinforce. Some saying that all this impact that we are talking about, Arewa 24 and other media stations that we see, they are corrupting our norms and values. Some say no, they will only reinforce, while others argue that yes, they affect our norms, moral norms and values negatively. So it's a debate, but I think coming off or using these theories will support the framework Dr. Iguda is trying to come up with. Thank you very much.
Okay, my name is Salim Sanisho. I work with Sitat Online Radio. I will start by observing something that you are trying to get it for me. The problem that is happening regarding to the communications aspect, more especially is not in northern Nigeria, is politics and commercialization. What you are going to take example is, for example, now, if it's something that is happening intentionally or is not intentionally there in in the southwest of Nigeria, you will see that even international medias are focusing more on that. For example, take example of TBC, Channels TV, AIT, all the broadcasting media terms that are more, for example, operating their activities in southwest of this country. If you take example for our all local media stations there in northern Nigeria, you will take a more surprise regarding what it is happening. For example, take example of this radio station Kano, AM and FM. I think it is more than 50 years AM radio station there in Kano. But if some kind of government come, it is going to make more focuses of what the government is doing and what purposely government, for example, is trying to popularize regarding to the citizen of the Kano. For example, regarding to their works, regarding to what they have been doing. For example, if you take the activities of what they are going to do in order to educate the society of the Kano is, for example, 1% regarded to 100% of what the total broadcasting or production that people they are doing there. There is a former governor there in Jigawa State, Sulalamido. He built a TV and radio station there in Jigawa. The equipment that they are there, wallahi sun fi tsada more and more than the radio station there in Kano. I think for that time he has purchased that kind of equipment about 500 million naira there in our naira and Nigeria. But if you take the whole equipment there in Ario station or Ario studio there, they are not less than over 100 million naira. But what the content that they are producing in broadcasting station in Jigawa and what of it there in Ariwa is totally different. And for example, because what is going on is they are focusing more on politics. In gwamnati ta zo za su ce dole sai an tallata abubuwan da suke aikatawa. They are not concerning about their society. While the Ariwa 24, they are doing it because they have some kind of agenda behind. So suke mutane su hau kan wannan abubuwan. Amma mu kuma gwamnatocin mu gaba ɗaya ba ruwansu da waɗannan abubuwan. Abin da suka fi focusing akai yaya siyasar su za ta gyaru. Sannan na biyu idan muka ɗau for example like Dangote, Azman and any other kind of business tycoon there in Nigeria, wallahi they are not going to come and build a radio station purposely because of our society. They are going to do it because to get some kind of economic return. In Dangote zai radio zai kalli me zai samu a Kano. Idan Azman zai radio me zai samu a Kano. Yanzu mu dauka example a Lagos akwai more than 20 private university a Lagos, but a Kano guda nawa ne gaba ɗaya private din. Sun yi su suna they can even admitted a student to come and study. They are not going to pay a single kobo. But if they finish and go some kind of scale job in any other part of the country, they are going to start paying what they have been doing at the university. Private, amma sai sun gama za su ringa biyan abin da suka yi. Mu kuma fa kallo muke idan mun yi university din za mu samu. To dole mu focusing about politics din da suke faruwa da kuma commercialization na media station din da suke a Kano. Thank you.
The last person who commented, I think he made a very important point, and you should really think about it, the aspect of commercialization of media. Now, scholars have written about it. They call it tabloidization of the media content. You know tabloid newspaper? Tabloidization of media content, tabloidization of radio, tabloidization of television, and tabloidization of all sorts of media. And so it's a very important aspect of the political economy of media operation. Even if they have agenda, the commercial aspect is very important. And I also find your comment very relevant, that government, emphasizing on government. Which government? Which government? A government whose preoccupation is about how to make billions of naira, how to acquire all the property around the state. That government, that kind of government, can you trust it with that kind of project, I think we have to, somebody was suggesting about other concerned stakeholders. Yeah, so we should not be too much about government, because our government really have failed us. Not only Kano State government, no, almost all.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Mustafa Ibrahim. I'm a student in the, I'm the student of the chairman. I'm a student in the Department of Mass Comm, doing postgraduate studies. Now, I want to commend the presenter for raising a very important issue in our society, because anything that affects our society, especially as is being predicted in 10, 20 years, something is going to change the society away from the direction that our elders, our ulama, and our deen want us to follow. Somebody is taking us away, so we should be very concerned about that. So, Jazakallah khair, and I will just make some observations, and I have a suggestion at the end, the way out. Now, one of my brothers who made a comment was talking about the Arewa 24 is ended up in the hand of filmmakers, and there are no educationists, no journalists. My brother, that is deliberate. The white man does not do anything by chance. Somebody did a research paper somewhere and studied our society. I mean, some of us know even some of the researchers who came.